Welcome back today.
All right, I got my mom.
All right, I got my son.
So obviously, I'm doing this trying to not involve our corporate overlords in my eating process or anything else in my life now, apparently, as best we can.
Well,
Today's laundry day.
That's Mission Impossible. You realize that, don't you?
Well, so
you realize that's Mission Impossible, right?
Yeah.
What do you have?
This is my new gallon of Dr. Bronner's Suds, which is going to do my laundry, wash the dishes, clean the floor, clean the counters. It does everything.
And how is it different from the old Dr. Bronner's?
No, it's the same Dr. Bronner's. Dr. Bronner's still around.
Well, yeah, I know it's still around, but so is this a new version of it, or it's just the old Dr. Bronner's? Is it mint flavored?
I think this is...
Or scented, I should say.
Siberian fir and spruce.
Cool.
Yeah.
I would rather
all-purpose cleaner.
I'd rather have like a pine or a lemon scent than the mint.
Yeah, I haven't even opened it or smelled it yet. So I got to do laundry later. So I guess this is what my clothes are going to smell like. Yeah. It smells like a Christmas tree.
There you go.
Yeah.
Put some lights on you and some ornaments. You'll just be glowing.
So anyway, I've been eating trash for the last 30 years. I cook and I
since
eat
you left home,
decently.
You mean since you left home?
No, I think we started having garbage in the house around like middle school, high school. But before that, we never had anything good in the house. Everything was actually really good, right? Like you didn't even let us have chocolate. We had carob. You gave us carob.
Yeah.
So what was it like trying to feed kids health food?
Well, back then, it kind of depends on where you're located. Like when we lived in California, but you were born in California. But, depending on the location, like even in Ohio, like living in Newark compared to living in Meigs County didn't have anything except Wonder Bread, and they didn't even have butter. They just had margarine. So it depends on where you're at, like how easy or hard it is to, and what kind of stores are available. And that kind of thing makes a difference, and how easy it is to do that. So basically, this is my philosophy, is basically if you just eat whole foods, like not processed, you don't, not stuff that you just warm up in the microwave, but food that you actually cook, like real food is the best. To me, that's the best way to go.
So I can eat whatever I want. I just have to eat real food. That's where we're at. But I can't buy.
Real food. Yeah, not going through the fast food thing and not having processed foods in the freezer that you just like, make your lasagna. Don't buy,
a frozen lasagna. Freeze your own lasagna.
For one thing, it's all got more sodium in it when you buy stuff because that's what they do. They want you to eat more, so they put stuff in it to make you have more cravings.
Yep. So I have a philosophy that I've come up with, which is that your body will tell you what it needs, unless, of course, you have addicted your body to things that it doesn't need. So you will crave the bullshit crap, the processed foods, because they've made it addictive to you. So your body doesn't recognize what it actually needs because it's covered in this layer of addiction. So instead of being like, oh, I'm craving an apple, or I'm craving a banana, or I'm craving a salad, we don't crave those things because we've been addicted on a top level, so that our body can't even recognize, and we can't recognize what our body's really asking for anymore. What do you think of that?
That's probably true. And whatever your body's used to is what you're going to want. It's like when little kids, like all of my grandkids eat broccoli. Broccoli's not something little kids usually find. They don't eat peas. Like, I was surprised. And they don't eat mashed potatoes. Who doesn't eat mashed potatoes? But anyways, so if they're used to something, if you don't feed kids vegetables when they're really little, then when they first start eating foods, they're not going to eat them. So what you introduce at an early age makes a big difference too.
I mean, there's I found that I liked vegetables as I grew into them. There was things I didn't like that I learned to like later because of the ways that they were implemented into what I was eating. Like tomatoes, I never liked just raw tomatoes, but I like a caprese salad. So if it's on, Italian bread with balsamic reduction and some tomato and mozzarella and some basil, then all of a sudden I love a fresh raw tomato, but only in that way. I don't want to take a bite of the tomato.
Balsamic reduction to me is one of the best ways to get people to eat I put balsamic reduction on all of my, on like broccoli and stuff, because it just tastes better with the balsamic. Actually, lemon juice works too. Huh?
It just really takes it up a notch.
Yeah. So anyway, well, I think lemon juice is good too to put on any kind of a vegetable, as far as, like kind of a seasoning, a natural seasoning, whatever.
So what did we eat as kids? Let's see. I remember a lot of oats, like breakfast.
Actually, I was just thinking about that the other day because we were poor. We ate a lot of grilled peanut butter and jelly and buttered noodles. I made buttered noodles the other day just on memory lane. I still like buttered noodles.
Jordan likes buttered noodles sometimes. That's all. She wants just some buttered noodles.
Well, I put some peas in it too. Well, I put some feta. I put feta and other stuff on it too, and spike, of course. Who could live without spike, right?
All right. So right now I have frozen bread in my freezer because I bought my bread from the farmer's market lady, from the bread lady. So I got sourdough and a French loaf. And now I'm freezing my bread. And you always freeze your bread because bread goes bad so quickly and you're just one person.
Yeah, and I don't eat all that much, so I freeze mine. Sourdough is really probably the best you could do. Did you ever read Michael Pollan?
Mm-mm.
P-O-L. You should read Michael Pollan. He has a whole section. I was just talking to somebody about that a little bit ago, about the sourdough. He has a whole thing about sourdough. Sourdough is probably better digested than regular. And there's a whole controversy about the wheat, whether it's really the gluten or the fact that they don't grow the same kind of wheat as they used to, and that it's also they spray it with different things. So there's so many factors in there. Like, it's hard to break things down and decide what is really having an effect on it.
Do you know Bob?
Bob, is that Red, whatever it is?
Red Mill Farm, Bob?
Yeah.
So Bob cracked that mystery already. He just passed away a couple months ago. Rest in peace, Bob.
So tell me the cracked mystery here.
So Bob spent his life crusading in favor of good wheat and good gluten because he didn't believe that there was actually an allergy to gluten. He believed that the allergy was actually to the processes that we do to flour. And basically just proved it right? So
the species that's grown is part of that too.
So you want whole cracked, sprouted grain, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want, you just have to use the real shit. You just can't fuck with it. And if you don't fuck with it, it's not going to fuck with you. So, I think it's basically the essence of it. All right. Don't fuck with your food. It won't fuck with you. So just eat the real natural food, not the fucked with food, and you're fucking fine.
I think that's what I said right at the beginning.
Yeah.
In a little less fucking way.
But that includes our wheat and how we, whether we're having whole grains that have been seeded, right? Because the second the actual seed begins to crack out, right, that is a way more healthy grain than a ungerminated seed that we just crush down and bleach. So Bob solved that, and so
I think what they grow today is shorter too. Like, there's not like waves of grain, and that's not the kind of grain that they grow primarily.
No,
because here's the thing: any kind of company wants to make money, so they're going to take the shortcuts and they're going to do whatever is going to be more productive, and which is really you disappeared. But that's really the point you're trying to make. The whole corporations have really fucked up our whole food system.
Yeah, someone has left this iPad.
In the cravings that they cause, and the lack of nutrition that all of that stuff.
Yep, they ruined it for everybody.
Now what you doing?
Turning this iPad off. It keeps ringing for some reason. Huh? You mean your dad? Oh.
Who are you talking to?
Jordan
You talking to
said it.
Jordan?
Yeah. So I just talked to a guy about urban farming.
Yeah.
And so when we were kids, you had vegetable farms and herb gardens, and now you pretty much just have your herb gardens, which can we call them medicine gardens?
Well, yeah, you could call them that. Actually in my older age, I'm pretty much into the flowers. I just like the flowers, because there's a whole procession of them, and you can eat flowers too. But there's, it's a sign of the seasons and everything. There's a time for everything, and they're beautiful, and that's healing. Looking at stuff that is beautiful is healing, just like eating it. I grow more flowers than I do anything else. But I have like I have like my nervine garden and my respiratory garden and all that kind of stuff. And the two things I grow the most of which I'm almost finished weeding that out. The two things that I grow the most of that I have inside a fence are motherwort and St. John's wort, because those are the two things I personally use the most.
They used to grow all kinds of stuff, echinacea.
I still have echinacea. I still have all of those things, but as far as any like trying to get like a quantity of, those are the two things I get the quantity of, are motherwort and St. John's.
So so as an herbalist, and you were going to talk to some layman person and tell them just a few basic essentials that you would need to have in your herbal medicine kit. Could you design us just a little herbal medicine kit that we should always have on hand?
Well, yeah, the first thing I would tell people to have is nettles, because it's the most nutritious. But also, like, people waste all their time growing spinach, and nettles has more vitamins and stuff in it than spinach does. And the deer don't eat it because it's stinging nettle. So that's one thing. You don't have to put a fence around. And almost everything has nettle. When in doubt, take nettle. Nettle's good for a lot of things. Primarily, it's taken for allergies. However, it's extremely nutritious, and so it's in a lot of different formulas and combinations. And of course,
so how do we take the nettle?
Well, you can, if you want it for a food. I go out and I clip it off and drop it into a paper bag, and then I dump it into boiling water, and it takes all the sting out of it. And then I scrape it off the stem, and then I make it into little patties or balls. And I put in my smoothies in the morning, because it's just like putting spinach in. It's like making a green smoothie. And then,
but with nettle.
Yeah, but with nettle. And then the patties I usually put into quiche. So when I make a quiche, I'll put a couple patties of nettle in there, along with the onions and the peppers and the other stuff. But I put the nettle in. I don't ever use spinach. I couldn't tell you the last time I've used like cooked spinach. I always use nettle.
I literally did not know that you did that.
Well, see, you never paid enough attention to me, honey. I'm just kidding.
I just assumed it was spinach. I didn't know you were slipping nettle past everybody this whole time.
I remember my first nanny job, and I used to sneak rutabagas into the potatoes. But whatever. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta sneak things,
All right. So anyway, we're making our essential medicine kit. So we have a nettle tincture, or just nettles in general?
I make nettle tincture too. I green tincture it. I go out and I pick it, and I put it in the blender with pure grain alcohol, because I green tincture it. So if you use dried herbs, a tincture should be 50% alcohol. So if you use dried herbs, then you can put some water in there. But when you use the green already has water in the plant. So you use as close to pure grain as you can get. We're in Ohio. We don't have pure grain. We don't have 100%.
a
I
lot
have
of
to
alcohol.
sign at the liquor store just to get the other stuff.
The Everclear.
Yeah. They have this one now, it's called Devil's Kettle. I like that one. Not Devil's Kettle, Devil's, what is it? Anyways, I use that one. That's about as high a percent. In Ohio, like what you can get at the liquor store is like 175 proof. So you
So
can't.
all right. So tinctures. We still haven't made this little kit yet.
Yeah, well, I
I
make
what
the tincture every day, so I would put the nettle in there. I would put motherwort because it's a cardiac tonic and a nervine and a reproductive. And I would put St. John's because it's a viral infection fighter. You know, when COVID happened and they were like, they don't have, AMA doesn't have anything that fights a virus. And it's like, yeah, you do. You have St. John's wort and you have elderberry. So that's the other thing I try to grow a fair amount of is elderberries because I make elderberry syrup. Um, which it's a great viral anytime. Yeah, you got to have that elderberry syrup. That's good.
well, that's my
So that's
jelly for my. It was my jelly.
oh wow, yeah, because I made elderberry jelly this year too. Well, not jelly, I made jam with seeds in it.
Well,
But
yes, it's jam.
and you need
No, it says
something
jelly.
that's gonna like keep you calm and good for your stomach. So you want chamomile and mint are standards for that. And you have, I grow a fair amount of mullein, which is good for as a respiratory. So it kind of depends, like what you would want in your garden would depend on what kind of things happen to you. Like I don't get ear infections, and you kids never really got ear infections. So you would want to grow
Why is that?
mullein, and because mullein garlic ear oil is, really good for ear infections, but we never really had many ear infections. So we were
Yeah,
more
I
of a
remember
sourdough.
rubbing garlic on our feet a lot and
Well, yeah, because
stinking like garlic a
yeah, because
lot.
it'll make your whole body smell like garlic. Because garlic is a good antibiotic. And the Russians, it's called Russian penicillin because way back when in the war, that's what they used when they didn't have any other antibiotics. They used garlic. Garlic's a really good antibiotic. So if you're sick and you don't know whether it's bacterial or viral, if you take garlic and elderberry, all your bases are covered.
And St. John's wort.
And Saint John's wort is good for other things too. Saint John's wort is also really good for any kind of aches or pains. Like I use it externally for like in an oil. And Saint John's wort and anything that you get on the market, boo-hoo on the corporations, is going to have arnica and Saint John's wort in it because it's really good for any kind of muscular joint, any of that kind of stuff. So it's not, so it is good for as an antiviral, but it's also and St. John's wort is generally used for depression more than anything because they're these little tiny little yellow flowers, and you go out and pick these. Like I do this for at least a month every year. I go out and I pick the little yellow flowers and I pop them down into pure grain alcohol, which is clear, and then it turns like a pale pink, and then it turns into a deep red. And you have St. John's wort. Whether you make an oil or tincture, you do it the same way. But actually, I use more of the plant when I'm making the oil. But
what about salves? And tell me like what
salves are
salves you keep around the
basically,
house.
well, salves, like comfrey is really good to put in a salve. Plantain's a good thing. Skin type herbs are what you want in a salve. St. John's wort is good for burns. That's one of the things it's good for. So a salve is basically just oil that's thickened with beeswax. Like the most basic salve you could make. You could take coconut oil and heat it and put herbs in there and let them extract in there. And after you strain them out, it's going to solidify if it's the least bit cold. Coconut oil melts in the summertime. So you can actually, that's the most basic, simple salve you could do is in coconut oil.
But don't leave it in a hot car because otherwise you open your little tin
It's
and it's
going to
just
be
all going to
melted.
spill out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Even a salve is going to be completely melted. You know what? We did it the other day. Addison wanted to make lip balm. She said her mom told her that she used to make lip balm. So we made lip balm, and I had alkanay root, which was really old. I mean, like over a decade old, I'm sure. And I still had some, and it turned. That's what you use to make the oil, like a dark red, so that when you make your lip balm, it'll come out pink. So, anyways, we made a salve. We just, we extracted it in the alkanay to make it red, and then we strained it out and added beeswax so that it would solidify. And put, what did she put on it? I think she might have put orange in it, and then flavored it with an essential oil, and then it solidifies, and
That's helping.
and voila. I mean, that's all lip balm is. Lip balm is just a salve.
Yeah, but it keeps them from buying a bunch of chemical laced chapsticks or little kid crap. I just watched a video on how bad all the little flavored chapsticks are for children.
Well, yeah, but then on the upside of it is that if you want to go all natural, you can use it on your cheeks, and then you have then
cheeks.
Blush. And if you want to get really basic, you just cut a beet and rub the beet on your cheeks. We were kind of basic. You grew up kind of basic, but I hope you appreciate it, Rashawn, because not everyone does. I'll just put it that way.
I'm coming to. I guess it took me 45 years to fully appreciate it. I was always into it as a business for you when I was younger. Like, I always saw the necessity of it as a business, and I wanted the business for you to do well because I knew that would in turn help people. So the mission of your life mission of herbalism and trying to help people see back even in the 80s when natural medicine was literally still just like this tin hat wearing fucking crazy hippie people, right?
Yeah, but my approach was really more that people help themselves and through education. My approach was really to educate people about it. And that was one of the things that was hard when we started the shop, because I wanted people to make their own tinctures and make their own salves and whatever, and people weren't going to do that. So,
no, they just want to buy your salves.
Yeah, the product part of it had to be as far as a business went, but my major goal was always education. So I did retreats. You remember those retreats?
Yeah.
Because you told me one time about copying.
I feel like you could have had a great product line, though, had we really leaned into a product line once upon a time, 30 years ago.
I probably could have, but I didn't. So, that's done gone. If you want to work together on a product line and if that's what you want to create, I'd be more than happy to help you.
See, those are the things I just know. I think it's because I grew up with them that I just tried to, I don't know, almost block it out. Like, it was like, take the tinctures, or no, Mom, you gotta take the real medicine from the store. No, I got a cold. I'm not gonna take it. And rub garlic on my feet. Yeah, I know.
You guys would say, I want real medicine. I don't want your stuff. I want real medicine. But real medicine has lots of side effects. You do know that, right? I'm always amazed at commercials when they talk about how great this medicine is, and then they go through, and the side effects are like 3 times as long as what the good things were.
Yeah. So back then, all of your
shit.
Well, because I think we had the same perspective that the majority of the world held at the time, which is that y'all crackpots. Yeah.
But actually, the majority of the world, the majority of people in the United States,
New Age medicine, right? Like they tagged it New Age medicine, even though it's old age medicine, the original medicine, the medicine that they stole the drugs from, right? And then tried to tag it as this New Age hippy dippy thing. And it was really just a marketing ploy to keep people away from it. Because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know.
A big controversial word there is traditional, because you talk about traditional medicine, but like traditional, like I was into home birth, but a traditional birth is in the hospital. But traditionally, birth was always at home, So tradition is another word that has a very kind of screwed up perspective depending on who's talking about it,
Right.
So traditional medicine, I think people don't realize this. Like before the AMA existed, people were really open to. It was the eclectics, and the eclectics actually their big power place was here in Ohio, the Lloyd Library in Cincinnati, and actually Westerville was where the first school was. So the eclectics accepted anything that worked, and empirical evidence, which is basically things that have been used throughout time and have been effective. That's empirical evidence. And then you have scientific evidence where they create this setup, what scenario and change certain things. And that, but in our society, scientific evidence is much more accepted than empirical evidence is.
Well, because they want to try, they're trying to improve they're not, they're trying to prove the empirical evidence. They know that it obviously works because it's empirically proven, but then they want to break it down and like scientifically say, no, definitely, sure, for a fact, right?
Well, no, they break things down. Here's the other thing, like grandma went to that place in Chicago forever for her cancer, and Cranesville was effective for diarrhea. All the people that were at this place going through these treatments all had diarrhea. And the diarrhea, and the Cranesville helped that. But what they wanted to do was to break it down in the laboratory and figure out how they could get parts of parts. Like that's what they do in the marketplace. That's what happens. Like St. John's wort, hypericin is natural in St. John's wort, and that's how I would take it. I would use a whole plant to heal a whole person. But scientifically, they've broken it down to say this is the percentage that it has to be blah, blah, blah. And then they take parts of parts rather than using whole plants.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, does it?
No.
No.
Glad you're seeing that.
I mean, it only took me, I keep saying it only took me 45 years, but like I knew for a long time, it's just whether you take action or not. People know a lot of things that they just don't take action on, right? Fun facts that we all know, don't like to think about, all kinds of shit, like so much stuff that we know to be true, but we don't want to think about it because it affects the simplicity of our daily lives, the convenience of our daily lives.
It affects the comfort zone of what you're used to. Like when you were talking about changing your whole diet and stuff, like when I did that, I got really sick. Like if I ate in a restaurant and I had orange cheese, I would get this god-awful migraine. And it was like ridiculous. And so my conclusion that I came to was that you have to junk yourself out to a certain level in order to survive in the society in which we live. Does that make sense?
So you want to poison yourself just a little bit, so if you encounter the poison, it doesn't fuck you up as bad.
Well,
that's what I heard.
Like everything, and I'm not an all or nothing person. I'm, I think everything in moderation is what's best. So, I mean, I think if you're going to eat good most of the time, if most of the time you don't eat junk food, you don't go through Wendy's, you don't do all that kind of stuff, then you're going to be a fairly healthy person. It's not that you can never do that. But it's the percentage.
You shouldn't live that way. It shouldn't be your lifestyle.
Yeah, and different people are different ways. Like people give milk a really hard time, right? Right?
People with milk, people in milk
give dairy a hard time, right? Dairy's gotten a pretty bad rap. I mean, when I was a kid, everybody drank milk 3 times a day, right? So I take care of this 95-year-old woman who drinks milk 3 times a day. She has no osteoporosis. She's like strong as can be. I'm like, and she's healthy and she's 95. So I'm like, man, I'm rethinking this dairy thing here. So it all, it depends on
it might not be dairy itself either. It might be our processed dairy, right? That's the problem.
Yeah. But here's the thing that's kind of interesting.
Like people rave about whole milk, right? Like, or raw milk. What?
Yeah, because when you were born and we first came back from California, in California, you could buy raw milk in the grocery store. And then do you remember how we used to go to that place in the country and I would get milk and eggs and I don't know, honey and whatever and get those things because you couldn't get them in the grocery store. It was kind of like underground. It was like, it was like selling pot. It was just raw milk.
You got the raw milk over here, man. How much you need? let me get. Let me just get six. Let me get 6 gallons of that.
Here's an interesting thing you should think about. Okay, so I like the blue zones. Do you know what the blue zones are?
The places where people live the longest.
Yeah, they live to be 100. Okay, so those certain characteristics, certain pillars of what makes people live a long time are consistent. But the one thing that's not real consistent is the food thing, because some of them, they're pretty much plant-based. They're all pretty much plant-based, but they eat meat like on special occasions or festivals or stuff like that, not a lot. And then, like when I was a kid, people ate a lot of meat. Like if you ate a steak, it was a 16-ounce steak. You ate a whole Cornish hen. Like I grew up in the real heavy meat section.
I think we're still doing that.
Not a lot.
That's still happening.
It was a lot, yeah. And people ate meat 3 times a day. They had bacon for breakfast, sandwiches for lunch, and some kind of meat for dinner. It was a lot of meat, but basically they're pretty much plant based. But they have different things. Some of them do dairy, some of them don't. Some of them do pasta.
Depends on where they live, right?
Yeah, depending on where they live, like
because they're eating locally, regardless. They're only eating out of their region.
So if you live on an island, like if you're in Japan or something, you're gonna have a lot of seafood and you're gonna have, your rice and whatever. Right. So it depends on where you live and the climate. But the thing that is not really consistent in all of those theories is the food part of it. The one thing is true that you shouldn't, the idea that you shouldn't eat till you're completely full. The idea that you should only eat till you're like 80% full, that's kind of a Japanese thing. But anyways, I think that's probably true with all of them too. If you just like eat until you're just like so full and you can't move and that's not good. That's not a good eating habit.
You're supposed to stop. Someone said you're supposed to stop when you take your first sigh. So that means you're done. Stop eating right then. The second you take that first deep sigh, that's when your body just said, "Oh, I'm good. Done now. Stop eating."
Well, yeah, they do. Like Ava's a year old, man, and she just like eats like crazy. You put all this food on her high chair, and she just, But then when she's done, no more. She's done. She knows when she's done. But we've kind of lost touch with that part of ourselves.
But the other factors of the blue areas are the same, right? Community. There's like 5 factors.
Like community, family, tribe. Like the social connection thing. That's like the thing I think is most is purpose. I think that's what makes people live is they have a purpose. I mean, purpose I think is the biggie. And exercise is a different thing too, because, in this country, we think exercise, you go to the gym and you work out on the machines and blah, blah, blah. But no, they walked up and down the hills. They took care of the goats. They weeded the garden. They did not do exercise. They had movement, they involve a lot of movement and physical activity, but not like gym workout.
Yeah. We just have to eat local, healthy, be active, and if we start our own gardens, we can get our own exercise out there eating.
Yeah, a garden is a good thing because then you know what food you're getting, and
I've never thought that I wanted to plant stuff because I had a brown thumb, and because I grew up with it all, I rebelled against all of this as a teenager. When you're rebelling, you rebel against whatever your parents' stuff is. So rebel against the herbalism and rebel against
healthy foods.
The healthy foods. Give me Burger King. I want, I'm an adult. I have my own money. I can eat whatever I want. I'm going to eat all the trash in the world.
Well, yours was, you did one of the worst. You did Mountain Dew. Oh my God. Mountain Dew is what, like when we did that I've done things where they give away food at like rest areas and stuff like that. I swear to God, that shit glows in the dark.
Oh, I haven't drank Mountain Dew in years, like
Well, you used to
decades.
really like Mountain Dew.
I still love root beer. I still love
Root beer.
sodas.
Do
But
what?
I haven't had any soda in 10 days now.
Well,
On
that's
single
good.
one. My sugar has consisted of honey, fruits, and I did buy a cookie and some chocolate from at the farmer's market from the chocolate lady.
Well, because
And
chocolate's good for
the
you.
cookie is made with local cane sugar, so like it's at least local pure cane sugar, like non-processed cane sugar for my cookie. So that's pretty much all the actual sugar that I've been intaking. No soda, no candy in a can.
Actually, oddly enough, Asia, your sister, and I have actually we both like got on a Dr. Pepper kick for some reason, kind of at the same time.
Candy in a can. No more
I
candy
know,
in a can.
and I do buy Dr. Pepper, but you know what? It takes me like 2 or 3 months to go through 6 little tiny cans, so that's not very much. That's what I
Everything in
mean about
moderation, right?
quantity. It's about quantity. It's not like never doing something or doing it all the time. You have to like what, and everybody's different. What works for one person doesn't work for someone else. And your age makes a difference. Like now, I can't eat tomatoey stuff like pizza and spaghetti and stuff. It gives me like heartburn, and I have acid reflux when I eat that kind of stuff. But I used to eat a lot of it, when I was younger.
Do you see moss?
Do I see moss?
Yeah, do you see moss? Do you eat sea? No, sea moss. Sea moss, like the supplement sea moss, like.
Only when I have sushi.
Only when you have sushi?
You're talking about like no, I've never really used that very much.
The supplement. So might help you with well, maybe I can help you.
Maybe. I just don't need it.
Now, particularly to allow your gut to be able to still digest acidy foods that you think you can't eat anymore. So if you do focus on some gut, more gut medicines that coat and like seal your gut, because we don't pay that much attention to our stomach that much.
Like slippery elm. Is that what you're talking about?
Slippery elm. Several other things, but sea moss too. So I ordered some sea moss. It's coming. I'm gonna try my thing of sea moss, because everybody around the world currently raving about sea moss. So I got the good sea moss from the good place, and I also bought a hydrogen water bottle, a super expensive hydrogen water bottle, because it was my birthday present to myself. $250 bottle that puts hydrogen back into it, and then. At some point, I'm going to spend $8,000 making my entire house water friendly, like totally purified.
Yeah, see, I take a much less consumer or approach to living.
No, have you seen the water test? Oh my God. Do you want to know what's in your water? Your tap water? I'm sure you know it's terrible already.
I don't drink tap water. I don't drink tap water. I have bottled. Actually, I do get bottled water. I have bottled water delivered. I have the same delivery guys that I had when I lived in Meg's. I had them there for 15 years, and I've had them here for 10 years, and they're still the same guys.
But your water is actually, you're not a city water. You have a well, right?
I have Leax water. It's city water.
Oh, you do have city water now?
Yeah.
So you should get a filter for your shower head / your bathtub, because I know you like to take baths. And you want to know what's in your water? Athens water? There's a website you can go to.
Oh, yeah?
And it will tell you, and you just put in the zip code of wherever you want, and it will literally tell you exactly. Do you remember when I used
to sell those things? Do you remember when the things
you sold the water filters and the air filters?
That was a long time ago too.
Well, we're back. We currently live in the Middle Ages, because beer is better for you than your tap water. You know that things I've learned. You know that a well taken care of pool, a chlorinated pool, contains less chlorine than the average American tap water.
Probably. What about the fluoride?
Oh,
See, that's what we
there's
always
no
avoided. We always avoided the fluoride. And
well, the fluoride's bad too, but the chlorine is worse. So if there's a test you can do where if you take your tap water, two bowls of your tap water, right, and you get a chlorine tester like the stuff you use for a pool, just a little pool testing kit, and you put a couple drops in the one bowl, turns super yellow. That's how much chlorine is in it. Put your hand in the other bowl for like 30 seconds. Take your hand out, add the drops, and see how yellow that water gets. And it doesn't get hardly yellow at all. You know why? Because all the chlorine just leached into your hand.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. Things you can't unknow once you know them. So it is actually super important not to shower or bathe in our tap water because our skin is absorbing more than you could possibly imagine.
Well, I've been doing more showers because my legs aren't. I do strength training classes because I got to keep my arms up so I can get in and out of the bathtub. See, that's a really tricky thing too, because they make these things as, oh, you get a walk-in bathtub. Well, you know what? You have to sit in that sucker while the water fills up, and then you have to sit in that sucker while the water goes down before you can open the door. In Japan, they have the best thing in Japan. They have like a pulley system, and they put people in these kind of like net chairs, and then they pull them over and they drop them down into the water. Voila. All deep. But in Japan, they don't do, like here you have long bathtubs, so people like lay this way, but in Japan, they're more like square, so they're up higher. The water comes up higher, but you're not like laying in a bathtub.
So you're just sitting in a tub of water?
You're sitting in, you're sitting in the tubs are shaped differently.
Athens PWS or Athens County Plains Public Water System.
I have LEAX water, whatever that means.
Albany, Athens County, Butchell Water, Athens County Plains, Athens PWS. Let's just look at Athens City. So.
No, I don't really want to know.
You don't want to know? Oh,
no, not really.
12 contaminants that exceed levels that are safe. Oh, it's not good. I already looked at this before. 305 times.
Okay. If they're not safe, how do they get away with it?
Because there's no legal limit on these things.
Tap water. This other woman I take care of, she drinks tap water. Maybe that's what's wrong with her.
No. The worst thing you can ever do in this country is drink the tap water. It is literally the worst thing you can do. There is nothing worse than drinking the tap water. Nothing. Even the hydrogenated oils, man. You're not going to chug a gallon of them, but you chug a gallon of tap water. Okay. Oh, my God. It is insane.
Okay, well, let's switch the topic. Let's switch the topic. I'm done with the water thing.
It's water's scary, right? Water's, yeah. Once you know, you can't unknow. It's hard.
Then you might as well drink Dr. Pepper.
It was made with tap water somewhere.
That's true.
Yep. Ice, tap water. All the sodas from every fast food place, any restaurant you go to, anything you're drinking that came out of their guns, tap water. Poison. Pure fucking poison. Out of the tap.
Then they get away with it.
Well, to be fair,
what can you really do to change? I mean, it's gotten so totally out of hand.
So I have certain, because people know, and to be fair, you are processing literal sewage and shit back into clear, theoretically drinking water, right? So yeah, it's a rough process. So, and that's fine as long as you just want to admit, tell us all what's in it, tell us it's trash, give us government incentives to, purify our homes, right? Just like we have solar incentives, give us water incentives. If we buy a whole house water purifier, we should, be able to write that off in a major way. Do that, right? There's a solution. Yeah. Give us the incentive to protect ourselves, but you don't want us to do that because then we won't go to your health system.
No, because there's no money in that. There's no money in cures. That's why people don't like. When you talk about stuff about the herbs and stuff that can help you. It's like no, the system doesn't want that. They want you to be sick so that you've got business.
Yeah,
So
it's a vicious,
part of the whole
evil
process.
cycle, and we are the sheep. Ah,
You have some good animal sounds there, Rashawn.
Take me to my slaughter. Yeah. Anyway, fun.
I know I got this stuff because I thought we were going to talk about when you were here. So I got my little book out here for our family. Can you see this? Oops, there. Who's on that corner? There's a Tara and Alana mixing cookies with Poppy, and there's Poppy in a chef hat, and there's all you guys sitting around the table with Poppy and him cooking. Yeah. So anyways, that's the family cookbook that I made you guys for Christmas one year, and I thought it was the best present ever. Actually,
I have one. It's right. I have mine. It's right. It's over here somewhere.
I think everybody has their cookbook at this point. Addison wants me to make her one. I've been making Addison her own little thing. Yes, you do have yours. And then, but look at this. Then what went with us for Christmas presents was I made placemats for all of you. And I still have 3 out of 4 of the sets that nobody took with them. One of them being yours, Rashawn. Right
oh, good. Rashawn. That's where that is. I wondered where that was.
Let's see Rashawn when he had blonde hair. Here we go.
and a bald chest.
Back in the day. Yes, you did, didn't you? Here's Rashawn during one of his favorite things, leaning against Johnny's car from Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing, wearing my Dirty Dancing shirt and those super short shorts.
You do have your Dirty
Sexy
Dancing
thighs. Sexy thighs I had there.
Whatever. Anyways, those were my presents to you guys. Oh, that has been quite a while ago. Was your family cookbook. And you know what was nice about it was that I put like the original writings of, if I could, of what, of their handwriting, like Poppy's handwriting and Grandma's handwriting.
Yeah, that's why it's all damn near unlegible. I can't read.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I don't know. I can't read it. Donut? Does that say donuts? I think it says donuts.
Oh, donuts. Yeah, that would have been from Homer. That would have been Homer.
Oh, is that Homer's handwriting or?
No, probably.
Would be my great grandfather.
No, Homer would be. Yeah,
my
your great grandfather. He was my grandpa, so he'd be your great grandpa. But I don't even see where that's in here. Oh, there I see it. Oh, no, you know 3. What? That looks like Poppy's writing. That's Poppy's writing. He probably took it off of there because remember the orange drop cookies? That was Homer's recipe, but he made them in the bakery, and they had like pounds of stuff in them. And then Poppy broke it down to a normal size recipe.
Yeah, there's a lot of sugar in here, and
yeah, there probably is.
So he had 3 heart attacks.
It's stuff that's homemade, so it's not like it's much better than buying
sugar and sucrose is sucrose. Sugar is death. Okay, sugar is death. Sugar is what actually creates the bad cholesterol in your blood. Not cholesterol. Eat cholesterol. Good cholesterol is fine. Sugar makes the bad cholesterol. That's what clogs your arteries. That's what gives you multiple heart attacks.
Like quantity, like what's the
and
quantity?
think about this too. He also ended up with diabetes late stage, right? Late in life.
He did. Actually, if he just quit drinking pop, he could get his sugar down. If he just didn't drink pop, that was his best thing, was not drinking pop.
Yeah, but back when he was being diagnosed with these heart conditions, they're blaming the bacon. They're blaming the meat.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
they're blaming.
They were.
But that wasn't what was doing it. It was the sugar. When we used to escape the house, ride my bike over to their house specifically for what? Orange and red soda, Fruit Loops, licorice, orange slices, all the sugar in the world was kept over at Grandma and Poppy's house.
Yeah, you guys
And you
loved
think
it
if you
because
think we were the only ones eating it?
he'd buy all that junky cereal. He'd take you guys all to the grocery store and let you each pick out a box of cereal that I wouldn't let you have at home.
Yeah.
And I used to put notes on his. Okay, but Rashawn, I used to put notes on his refrigerator about suggested snacks. And I'll tell you what, if Poppy were around today, I would much rather have Poppy around interacting with you guys than have no sugar in the house.
Well, sure, but also, but I'm just saying that times, you know, if we would have known it was the sugar the whole damn time, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like, and I think about this now, looking back, of like, yeah, there was just a shit ton of sugar in that house, from the pancakes made with Uncle Mrs. Butterworth's, which is just pure corn syrup, right? Like every morning, like yeah, he would make some healthy things. Yeah, he made that bean soup, he made that vegetable stew, but what did we have right after that fucking vegetable stew? Fucking a sundae the size of your head, like ice cream. There was always dessert.
Yes, there was always dessert. Actually, Addison helps me on Easter. I make Poppy's lemon pound cake. And then, so Addison takes a toothpick and punches all the holes all over the cake. So when I put the goop on it, it'll like soak down. She helps me out. See, there's good things there too. Like, that's good. Like, I love baking with the kids. Addison is very good. She never loses interest. You know, the boys, you decorate cookies with them. They do 2 cookies and they're out of there and they eat them. And, you know, they don't help anymore. Addison's very good about helping. I love baking with the grandkids. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, just bake healthy things with them. Trick them into baking sourdough bread.
Actually, we do this one thing. Remember how I used to make candy cane cookies and they twist them together? So we do that dough and then we color it different colors. And then basically we use it like Play-Doh and make things and, you know, bake them. And we don't necessarily eat them. We just
cookie
use
sculptures.
Cookie sculptures. That's what they are. Whatever. You want to know my newest sugar?
Oh God, what?
Is Domino brownies. Like, I get little mini M&Ms, and then we make brownies, and then we put icing across them, and put little dots, and put the M&Ms on. You can't get 6 on there for some reason. You can get 5 on there, and then we play dominoes with them. We did that for Addison's birthday because she gets so much.
You play dominoes with the brownies?
Yeah, we played dominoes with the brownies. I don't like all that plastic stuff, so that's what I gave her for her birthday this year. But her 7th birthday, we had a tea party. She made her infamous guacamole. She's very good at making guacamole, and you know, and we had little sandwiches and that kind of thing, and scones and whatever. But we had domino brownies for dessert. But we played with them first. See, food should be fun.
Make sure to play with your food before you eat it.
Your attitude, Rashawn, your attitude around it is probably the most important element. You know, because when people break bread at a table, you know, and they drink wine and they have you know, that's the thing that gets me today about food, is that everybody just like, even when we have family things, it's like, just put the food out there, throw your plate on it. Nobody sits down, passes the serving dishes, and has a nice quiet meal. That's all I want, is a nice quiet meal. You know, the atmosphere is important. It's very important.
I guess you shouldn't have bore so many hooligans.
Huh?
I guess you shouldn't have bore so many hooligans.
Whatever. You know, instead of just filling your plate and gobbling it down and you're done, you know, it's like, I don't know. Whatever.
Spend some time. I had a guy who, you know, that's all I talked about is, you know, treating dinner as the fire circle, right? Like, get back to the fire pit, and everyone sits around and tells the stories and enjoys each other's company while eating, right? But it's not just a shove into your face. It's about spending the time in the community and the sharing And the sharing of stories, the sharing of food, the sharing of time. Right. But we got places to be. Who has time for that?
There's something about you don't age. At the table, you don't age or something like that because time stands still and you're just in the moment.
Well, that's a lovely sentiment.
So I think that's a good philosophy. But,
all right. I guess a good place to wrap this up. Do you have any quick advice for how to start my first garden? Because I'm going to start with herbs. So talk to a guy.
Well, I would start my first
basil
garden. Since you think you have a brown thumb, I would start growing easy things. Nettle grows easy. Mints grow easy. Chamomile's not all that easy. Because, see, motherwort is in the mint family, too. There's a lot of things that's in the same family. Mints always spread, and they always grow easy.
Yeah, because mint turns into a weed at some point.
Well, yeah, but you also can't cross them over. Like, if you put them too close together, like, you'll just get this, like, homogeneous mint. Like, you won't have, like, chocolate mint and spearmint and peppermint. You can't grow them close to each other because then they just cross and
cross-pollinate.
You get kind of, like a generic. Then you get a generic mint, and doesn't really taste like anything. I mean, it does, but it's not like it's not individual.
I was going to do things that actually use, like basil, rosemary.
No, those things are easy. You can do those in pots. That you don't have to have land and to do those kind of things. I do those in pots on my front porch. And
I was going to do like broccoli, zucchini.
Zucchini will grow good.
Cucumbers.
Broccoli you have more trouble with. Cucumbers, and you can trellis them.
And carrots.
Chard. I would grow chard. Colored chard is really pretty. That's one of the things I like to grow. Is colored chard.
Make collard greens.
And then I like to grow like really good cherry tomatoes. These I think they're called millions or something like that. And because that's what I like to do if I'm gonna grill something with lots of onions and peppers and tomatoes and put it all over rice. That's one of my favorites.
So we'll see. We'll see if I can't turn this brown thumb green. But we'll find out.
You're going to grow beets? Beet greens are good for you. You got beets and beet greens.
Yeah, I wish I liked beets. Maybe I could put the greens in a smoothie and I wouldn't notice so much. But
no, the greens are good if you just stir fry them with some onions.
Yeah?
That's good. That's yummy. I like that. But,
I'll look into it.
Okay.
Where do I get a nettles plant?
Well, you come here. I got plenty to give you. There's probably some kind of greenhouse or herb, companion plants, like companion plants around here.
Yeah, we have nurseries. I just don't know if they carry nettles because it's an invasive
companion
species.
Plant ships all over the place. They ship everywhere. Companion plants does. But
we like companion plants as a company. They're a friendly company.
Yeah, they are. I love companion plants. Yes, it's one of my favorite companies.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that's all I have for today.
It's been good hanging out with you, honey. Do this again sometime. We'll just chat for a while.
All right. Sounds like a plan. I love you.
I love you too. Happy birthday tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry I can't
45 years young.
I know, sorry you won't eat my peanut butter cookies, but, when you're over this, let me know and I'll send you some.
All right, sounds good.
I love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
Don't actually go anywhere. All right, love you. Hold on.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Are you going to disconnect us or